All right, I did a few, starting again. So, as I was saying, I'm trying a new pattern. I'm going to try sticking with it. At first, I was making the extra large because that's what I've been wearing, but then when I measured it on me, it did not look correct. So I'm trying for the medium/large size. So that one required 86 stitches across, and then once you skip the first few stitches to make your first treble crochet, you end up doing 83 treble crochets across for the first row. So that's what I'm doing. To make this pattern, I'm going to be, well, I've already considered changing it. The pattern calls for creating one large back panel and then 2 front panels and sewing them together on the top. I am already considering changing it so that I'm going to possibly create the back panel and then start crocheting the front panels just from the top of the other panel. I'm not really sure for the reason for not doing that. Maybe because they want all the stitches to be facing up. I don't know. That's all I can think. But I'm not really sure I want to sew them together. I kind of want to crochet them together. So I don't know. We'll see once I get there. I think that's one problem with crocheting so much. I know how I like things, and if a pattern doesn't do them the way that I like them, I want to change it, but then it doesn't always turn out the way the person who created the pattern intended for it to turn out. So, I don't know. Guess there's something to be said for following the pattern the whole way through. At first, earlier this summer, I was starting to crochet a sweater. I had seen someone say, oh, just, start crocheting a great big rectangle, and then you can add on you can fold it over, attach it, add on the sleeves, and then crochet it around to add more of the front of the cardigan. And I tried doing that. It was a very oddly shaped slouchy sweater, and I didn't like it. So that's another one I'm going to be taking apart and trying again. If I like this pattern, I might make it in this same pattern in a different color. So we'll see. So as far as why I am starting recording these, I've always wanted to have some sort of more business-like social media presence. I've wanted to start either a YouTube channel or something on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or something, but I just never have. That's not true. I've tried a few things here or there, but nothing that I've actually really stuck with, and at least not for the social media presence. So I am doing what I can to stick with this and just try to enjoy it, use it as a place for processing my thoughts and crafting and having some stress relief in that way. So that's my current goal. If it eventually turns into something more, that'd be great too, but not necessary. It's more just I want to be able to enjoy it, and if other people eventually enjoy it, that's great. If not, I think it's fun. So I'm trying to just stick with what I think is fun. When I was little, back in the 80s, I can remember I had a tape recorder, and I had a couple tapes that my dad had given me, and I would record myself talking on those tapes as if I was talking on a radio show. And I had a bit of an accent back then. I lived in Lynchburg, Virginia, which is where I grew up. Oh, I can't quite see that. Let's see, there we go. And in my little accent, I would talk to the folks and say, okay now, folks, and talk to the non-existent people, pretending I was on a radio show. And who knows what I would talk about. I was a little girl. But I thought it was so much fun. I carried that thing around for years, and re-recorded over that same tape who knows how many times. I still have it around somewhere, so one of these days I need to pull it out again and see if there's anything interesting on it. I was thinking about that as I was thinking of trying to actually talk to an audience, even if currently there is no audience but myself. And it just made me giggle a little bit thinking about talking to the folks on the radio as I'm crocheting. So anyway, some of my inspiration for creating a YouTube channel comes from what has been called LawTube. There are a bunch of lawyers who are very interesting and lots of fun to watch and much more outgoing than I am. But they get on YouTube and they discuss trials and they host each other on their YouTube channels. And I've been listening to them for probably about 3 years now. I guess I started during the Johnny Depp trial, and that was when I first got interested in LawTube and listening to lawyers talking. And also then, I guess at that point, I started listening to trials themselves. So I literally will pull up a trial on YouTube, and you can get live feeds from courtrooms, and I'll just sit there and listen to the whole thing from the beginning to the end, day after day, while I'm cleaning, while I'm crocheting, while I'm doing stuff around the house. It's quite interesting. So now I'm at the end of a row, and I'm not going to pull up the pattern on my screen, but I'm going to look at what I crocheted before to be able to see what my next row is. I'm pretty sure I know, but I'm going to check. So here's the first row that I started when I did it the first time. So you can see that had that first row of treble crochets, and then the next row, it looks like, is 2 double crochets and a space, 2 double crochets and a space all the way across. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's going to be 2 chain stitches and then turn my work. And then I know that it said not to skip any to start out with, so I'm going to immediately go ahead and do 2 double crochets. Nope, not treble. Almost tried another treble crochet. So there's a double crochet and then chain 1. I'm going to skip that next stitch and do another double crochet. So let me get into that. Oops, I'm wanting to do treble crochets again. It's like I get in the habit of it. That's one of the things that makes it so pleasant, is you can kind of get yourself going, and then your hands almost do it automatically once you get going. So once again, my phone is still kind of in my way as I'm trying to see this. So there we go. That's working now. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, LawTube. So yeah, when the Johnny Depp trial was going on with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, I had started seeing some clips of it on probably Facebook, since that's the social media I'm on the most often. And so I clicked on some links and started watching different things, and wanted to see more of it, was interested in the process of the trial. And so I had started looking around on YouTube and somehow ended up watching a couple lawyers, one named Ian Runkle and one named Rob. I don't remember his last name. But they are lawyers that are very entertaining and interesting, and they had some other, I guess, older cases that they started talking about as well. They were doing some trials of the century and that sort of thing that they were covering on YouTube that I found rather interesting. And so they really just became the only people on YouTube that I was following. I was never really much of a YouTube watcher, but I enjoyed watching them and listening to them mostly. So I always thought it'd be fun to have a YouTube channel. So that's why I'm trying this one. I've had this one for a couple years and have just never posted anything on it. Maybe a year. I don't remember when I started it. It's hard to find a name on YouTube about crafts that hadn't been used already. When I originally started the channel, I was in a whittling kick, kind of. I was doing a whole lot of whittling, and in particular, I was making these wooden birds that were, I don't know if you've ever heard like a worry stone, but there's like a worry bird that you hold, and it's smooth and it's comforting to rub in your hands, and you can whittle them pretty easily. And so I was making a few of those, and had been planning on trying to make videos of that and post that online on YouTube. But at that point, my phone kept overheating. I was whittling out on my front porch in the summertime, and my phone was overheating, and it kept losing videos, and something happened. I don't even remember. I never ended up finishing the last bird that I was working on. But I had tried whittling with just some regular carving knives, and I had tried whittling with a more kind of electronic method using a Dremel. That was fun. But that didn't last super long. I guess I kind of pop around from craft to craft. I go back to a few of them here and there. I've tried whittling more than once in my life. Crocheting and painting tend to be the ones that I come back to the most. So, like I said, I started crocheting when I was rather young. Same thing with painting. The first time I ever tried painting, I was at Vacation Bible School, and one of the crafts that we did was a very simple landscape. I think it was probably of sheep in a field, if I remember correctly, and then we painted a Bible verse over it about the Lord is my shepherd or something like that. But at the same time, that summer, I had been watching Bob Ross online, not online, on TV. There was no online yet. On TV, Bob Ross would come on at least once a day, and I thought, that really is fun and doesn't look too hard. And my mom had some painting supplies. She's always been an artist, and I asked if I could use some of them and try to do some painting, and so she helped me get set up, and I started making little landscapes here and there. That was probably also when I was 9 or 10, if I had to guess. I didn't do much painting as a girl or even as a teenager, I don't think, but it was more after I was a lot older that I started painting again and really enjoyed it. So maybe I'll show some of my painting sometime. But that's something I've also, I've done here and there. I've come back to that more often. than anything else other than crocheting in my life. For some reason, I kind of get tired of it sometimes. I don't know. It's like I do it so much and spend so much time on it that then it's just too much and I have to put it away for a while. With painting, at least. With crocheting, it's more that I get busy. And so right now, as it's summertime and I'm a teacher and I have lots of time, I'm trying to make crocheting more often a habit because I enjoy it so much. Already almost to the end of this one, so that's a whole lot faster than the treble crochet rows, I feel like. Let's see, there we go. So there's that, and then my last two are going to go here before I start my next row. And I'm probably going to start a new video so this one doesn't somehow get messed up. So there's the end of that row. Let me start a new one.